Insights from the story of Joseph the Dreamer. Introduction. The story of Joseph the Dreamer is a story that has been told for centuries. Preachers, motivational speakers, personal development coaches, and even business trainers have used this story to teach and explain certain life, career, and business principles. As a Christian, I have heard this story so many times in church, and I've also taken out time to study it personally. Joseph's journey to greatness started after he had a dream in Genesis 37, 5-7. Genesis 37, 5-7. Now Joseph had a dream, and he told it to his brothers. So he said to them, "Please hear this dream which I have dreamed. There we were, binding sheaves in the field. Then behold, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And indeed your sheaves stood all around and bowed down to my sheaf." New King James Version. But you'd notice that his dream did not come to pass until you get to Genesis 42, verse 6. Now Joseph was governor over the land, and it was he who sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brothers came and bowed down before him with their faces to the earth. There are many lessons to learn from the things that happened to and around Joseph before his dream came to pass. Insights from the story of Joseph the Dreamer is a compilation of the lessons that I've learned from studying Joseph's story and journey. As you go through these insights, I pray that you find them inspiring, empowering, and worth sharing. The dream. Genesis 37, 5-7. Now Joseph had a dream, and he told it to his brothers. So he said to them, "Please hear this dream which I have dreamed. There we were, binding sheaves in the field. Then behold, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And indeed your sheaves stood all around and bowed down to my sheaf." Genesis 37, verse 9. Then he dreamed still another dream, and told it to his brothers, and said, "Look, I have dreamed another dream. And this time the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars bowed down to me." The dreamer. Genesis 37, verse 2. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brothers, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought a bad report of them to his father. Genesis 37, verse 3. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age. Also he made him a tunic of many colors. The direction. Genesis 37, 15-17. Now a certain man found him, and there he was, wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, "What are you seeking?" So he said, "I am seeking my brothers. Please tell me where they are feeding their flocks." And the man said, "They have departed from here, for I heard them say, 'Let us go to Dothan.'" So Joseph went after his brothers and found them in Dothan. The destination. Genesis 41, 1-14. Then it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh had a dream, but there was no one who could interpret them for Pharaoh. Then the chief butler spoke to Pharaoh, saying, "When Pharaoh put me in custody in the house of the captain of the guard, both me and the chief baker, a young Hebrew man with us there interpreted our dreams for us, and it came to pass just as he interpreted for us. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him quickly out of the dungeon." Genesis 42, verse 6. Now Joseph was governor over the land, and it was he who sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brothers came and bowed down before him with their faces to the earth. Insight 1. You may be in the wrong environment. Your greatest stumbling block in life may be the people closest to you or the people who love you. When a child is overprotected by his or her parents or guardian, such a child may not be able to grow or maximize his or her potential. It is my belief that Joseph's father, Jacob, was Joseph's greatest stumbling block. The environment Joseph was being brought up in wasn't the kind of environment that he could grow to become the man God needed him to become, to be able to carry out the assignment that he had reserved for him. Joseph had to be moved, as he probably would not have moved on his own. Some of us need to move to a different environment before we can experience reasonable and sustainable personal growth. If we decide not to move, God may have to move us himself. Insight 2. Great responsibility attracts great power. Great responsibility attracts great power. Great power, if not managed carefully, could lead to a great fall. Joseph needed to become the kind of person that could achieve the dream, but also manage the success and power that would come with it. He had to be moved from his place of comfort and protection. He needed to experience life and go through the process of self-discovery. He was under his father's protection where he felt safe and comfortable. He most likely would not have left that environment on his own. And if he didn't move, he probably would not have become the kind of man that could manage the resources that he was later positioned to manage. Joseph had to go through heat to become the man God needed him to become. Insight 3. A message for parents. As a parent, you should do everything within your power to show and share love equally amongst your kids. If you do not learn to share love equally amongst your kids, you may end up sowing seeds of hatred and envy in their hearts. If you love one child more than the rest of your children, be careful not to allow your love for that child cause other children to hate him or her. Genesis chapter 37 verse 3 to 4. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age. Also he made him a tunic of many colors. But when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and could not speak peaceably to him. Insight 4. You will be shown the right path to follow. When it is time for you to start your journey towards the realization of your dream, people will show up to show you the right path to follow and to point you in the right direction. The person who showed up to point Joseph in the right direction was a man only known as a certain man. The people that may show up for you may even be strangers, and these people that show up usually come at a time when you feel lost or confused. Joseph was wandering in the field when he met this certain man. Now a certain man found him, and there he was, wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, "What are you seeking?" Genesis 37, verse 15. Insight 5. The right path may not be an easy path. The right path may not be the most attractive, but one thing is for sure. When you are on the path to a place that God has reserved for you, no one and nothing will be able to take your life. God will always provide a way of escape. Situations will turn around in your favor, and people will fight battles for you in your presence and also in your absence. Reuben's role in saving Joseph, Genesis 37 verse 21. But Reuben heard it, and he delivered him, Joseph, out of their hands, and said, "Let us not kill him." Judah's role in saving Joseph, Genesis 37, 26 to 27. So Judah said to his brothers, "Come, and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother, our flesh." And his brothers listened. Insight 6. If you follow the right path, favor abounds. When you are on the path to a place that God has reserved for you, the path may not be the smoothest or a well-worn path, but things would happen in your favor without you struggling for it and trying to use your own strength, wisdom, or connection. Out of everyone that could have bought Joseph, how come it was Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, that bought him? From the day Potiphar bought Joseph, Joseph had a link to the palace. Always remember this. Joseph didn't know that the place his dream was going to become a reality was in the palace. But life was pushing him in that direction, and he didn't have to lobby, beg, or fight his way there. Insight 7. The service work advantage. Joseph's value was discovered by Potiphar, his master, while Joseph was serving him. It was from the results that Joseph got that Potiphar knew that the Lord was with Joseph. The Bible said that Joseph was a successful man, and that his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all he did to prosper in his hand. Do not despise work. Always be willing to serve even when you are not in the most favorable position, because work may be your only way out of that unfavorable position, or the easiest way to receive favor from those whom you serve. Work could also be your only way to grow out of that unfavorable position. Joseph wasn't successful by working for himself. He succeeded working under Potiphar and in Potiphar's house as a slave. Insight 8. Be a wise manager. Be like Potiphar. When Potiphar saw that the Lord was with Joseph and that the Lord made all he did to prosper, Potiphar made him overseer of his house, and all that he had he put under Joseph's authority. From the time Potiphar made Joseph overseer of his house, the Lord blessed Potiphar's house for Joseph's sake. A wise manager is one who recognizes God's grace in a subordinate's life and taps into that grace by giving the subordinate the authority and resources needed to take on greater responsibility. An unwise manager is one who allows envy and insecurity blind him or her from recognizing the grace of value that a subordinate carries. This kind of manager ends up losing such a subordinate. Be a wise manager. Be like Potiphar. Insight 9. The dark days shall come. Don't lose faith. How do you know that the dark days have arrived? Disappointments, betrayals, failures will seem to be waiting for you wherever you go and in whatever you do. When the dark days come, it is easy to lose faith. Hold on to God's word. He will neither leave nor forsake you. He will always make a way of escape. Many ways of escape will be available for you to choose from, but you should know that God's way is not usually the most attractive or easy to follow. God's way of escape for Joseph when Potiphar's wife cornered him in the room was for him to flee, and he even had to leave his garment behind. Potiphar's wife tried to set him up for destruction, not knowing that she was setting him up for his final destination. You won't lose your way when you choose God's way of escape. Insight 10. People will hurt you. Forgive them. Some of the people who treated you badly in the past were put on your path for a reason. They had a role to play in your life. It is time to forgive them. They came into your life to put you in painful positions that would make you take certain decisions that would make you succeed in life. Once you have acquired the wisdom of hindsight, you would have a better understanding of what happened and why they did what they did at the time they did it. Did you ever hear of Potiphar or his wife again? They had played their role by putting Joseph in prison. Your life may seem to be in a mess right now, according to your assessment and the assessment of other people, but that doesn't mean that your life is not going according to God's plan. Insight 11. Compassion uncovers opportunities to serve. Always keep your eyes open for opportunities to serve, even in dark times. Don't focus on just the challenges, so that you won't miss any opportunity to serve that comes your way. Your service may hold the key to your freedom. Sometimes the key is compassion. Compassion opens your eyes to opportunities to serve. One of Joseph's values was compassion. Joseph was able to notice that the chief butler and chief baker were deeply burdened by something. because he had compassion. Genesis 40:6-7. And Joseph came in to them in the morning and looked at them and saw that they were sad. So he asked Pharaoh's officers who were with him in the custody of his lord's house, saying, "Why do you look so sad today?" Insight 12. Use your gifts to serve. God will provide opportunities for you to use the gifts that He has given you to serve. Whenever you use your gifts to solve a problem or meet a need, you are building social proof, even if you use the gift without getting paid. If you activate the spirit of compassion in your life, you will see many opportunities around you to use your gifts to solve problems for people. Do not despise your gifts. They are seeds you can sow into people's lives. It was Joseph's gift of interpretation of dreams that put him in front of Pharaoh. So Joseph said to them, "Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell them your dreams to me, please." Genesis chapter 40 verse 5. Insight 13. You may still be in that position or location for your own good. Although the chief butler had forgotten Joseph in prison for 2 years, but this turned out to be a good thing because when Pharaoh needed Joseph, the butler knew exactly where to find him. Also, people will remember you, not necessarily because you told them to do so, but because of the value you carry and what you have done for them. Genesis 40:14 and 23. Joseph talking to the butler. "But remember me when it is well with you, and please show kindness to me. Make mention of me to Pharaoh, and get me out of this house." Yet the chief butler did not remember Joseph. Genesis 41:12-13. The butler talking to Pharaoh. "Now there was a young Hebrew man with us there, a servant of the captain of the guard, and we told him, and he interpreted our dreams for us. And it came to pass, just as he interpreted for us, so it happened." Insight 14. Sell your value, not your challenges. Sell your value and the abilities, gifts, skills that you have. Don't fall to the side of pity. When Joseph said to the butler, "But remember me when it is well with you, and please show kindness to me. Make mention of me to Pharaoh, and get me out of this house," you would notice that rather than sell himself, he was looking for pity. Many of us make this mistake. We forget about the value that we carry and begin to ask for pity. How was the butler going to sell Joseph's case to Pharaoh? Joseph's story was too long and complicated. But when Joseph's work and true value became relevant, he was remembered. When Joseph was invited to interpret Pharaoh's dream, all that mattered was that he could do the job. It was his value that brought about his freedom, not his pity me pitch. Insight 15. You are not what they call you. Because you've been given a label doesn't mean you must look like the label that you've been given. Because you were once a prisoner doesn't mean you must continue to look and act like one. Do not lose your identity to your situation. When Pharaoh sent for Joseph, Joseph shaved and changed his clothing before going to meet Pharaoh. When you've been given an opportunity to start afresh, to prove yourself once again, do not take your old and dirty clothing, attitudes with you. Rebrand yourself for your new position. Genesis 41:14. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him quickly out of the dungeon. And he shaved, changed his clothing, and came to Pharaoh. Insight 16. A lesson for the startup entrepreneur. Sometimes you may have to serve some clients for free when you're just starting out to acquire an asset called social proof. Social proof increases your confidence and makes it easier for you to sell yourself to prospective clients. When you serve some clients for free, you could also get referrals from them. When Joseph invested his gift in the life of the chief butler by interpreting his dream, what Joseph probably got from the butler was a thank you. But it was this same butler that remembered Joseph and referred him to Pharaoh. In Genesis chapter 41 verse 15, Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I have heard it said of you that you can understand a dream to interpret it." Your breakthrough job or contract can come from someone who had forgotten about you, but whom you served for free long time ago. Insight 17. Never look down on yourself. Joseph went from being a slave to a prisoner and then finally to a prime minister in Egypt. He didn't have an attractive resume or the best of resumes. It is my belief that he never looked down on himself and that he always carried himself with a level of confidence and grace that made him stand out. Never look down on yourself. Look beyond your resume. Focus on your strengths and look for ways to add value to other people's lives so that you can have proof of your ability to perform regardless of your lack of formal or professional qualifications. God can do mighty things with and through you regardless of your position or background. You just have to be willing to use the gifts that He has given you to solve problems for others. When you use your gifts to solve problems, even when you do not get paid, you acquire practical experience. Insight 18. Don't be your own stumbling block. Focus on what you can control. Joseph had no idea how his dream was going to become a reality. He had even forgotten about the dream. It wasn't until he saw his brothers that he remembered. Reference Genesis 42, 8-9. Don't be your own stumbling block. While you wait for your dream to become a reality, learn from Joseph. Keep giving your best, keep adding value to yourself, and keep solving problems for others. Hold on to your faith and continue to trust in God. Use your gifts to serve others. Hold on to your values and always take the godly path when you have to make important or life-defining decisions. God will always make a way of escape when things get tough. Insight 19. Maintain a positive attitude and stay loyal. When God is with you, when He has a job for you to do, policies will be changed for your sake. Even traditions will be remolded because of you. When you become prosperous and powerful, however, do not let pride possess you. Remain loyal to your master and do not misuse God's favor. Joseph remained loyal to his master Pharaoh and didn't take major decisions without consulting him. Joseph didn't try to take Pharaoh's place. He also didn't try to take Potiphar's place. Many people have lost their position and authority because they allowed covetousness, pride, and a lack of contentment to consume them. God can use you too to save your family, but you must not let pride consume you. Stay loyal to your earthly master and stay faithful to God. Insight 20. Life is better understood in hindsight. Forgive those who disappointed or betrayed you in the past, because what they did, whether you can see it now or not, may have been part of what fueled your determination or positioned you to achieve your dream. If God allowed them to do what they did to you, then it may have been part of God's plan. It will not be easy to forgive these people though, but I believe it is the right thing to do. Let us learn from Joseph's response to his brothers in Genesis 45, verse 4-5, 7 and 8. And Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. But now do not therefore be grieved or angry with yourselves because you sold me here. For God sent me before you to preserve life, to preserve a posterity for you in the earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So now it was not you who sent me here, but God. Final word. You can be an interpreter of dreams, but only God can make Pharaoh dream. Wilson Bonime. Thank you for listening to Insights from the story of Joseph the Dreamer, written by Wilson Bonime. Meet the author. Wilson Ozioma Bonime is a personal development advocate. He holds a BSc in marketing from Delta State University, Nigeria, and is also an alumnus of Daystar Leadership Academy, DLA. Over the last 20 years, Wilson has worked as a factory machine operator, secondary school teacher, customer service officer, banker, independent marketer, training facility manager, training coordinator, facilitator assistant, content writer, and social media manager. Wilson currently owns and manages an online-based personal development and marketing organization called Innovative Thinkers Enterprises. Wilson is from Owanta, Ika Northeast, Delta State, Nigeria. He currently resides in Lagos, Nigeria. Contact information: Wilson Ozioma Bonime. Phone number 0803 3194 285. Email: wilson.bonime@gmail.com. About Innovative Thinkers Enterprises. Innovative Thinkers Enterprises is an online-based personal development and marketing organization that is focused on helping personal brands and small businesses gain wider visibility, attract potential customers, and increase sales through the development, distribution, and promotion of content on social media and other digital marketing media. We partner with training organizations to provide training services for individuals and companies in need of personal development and soft skills training. We provide facilitator support services to help training companies create better quality customer trainee experience and promotional content for the company's marketing activities. We manage training facilities and work with the organization's personnel to drive customer satisfaction, retention, and referral. Innovative Thinkers Enterprises is owned and managed by Wilson Ozioma Bonime.